Right friends, welcome back to editorial discussion. And yesterday we could not discuss that diaspora in view of this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. That editorial I will discuss today. In addition to that, 4 articles we are going to deliberate today. So total it makes 5, and one that pertains to transgenders, that will be discussed either tomorrow or it will be brought as a separate capsule this weekend, because for the persons whoever are writing various high-end examinations, this mental health care bill, at the same time persons with disabilities act, as well as this transgender bill, these are very important, and minutely one has to analyze pros and cons, what are the shortfalls, what are the international experiences. So those aspects are involved. So the transgender bill tomorrow I will try to discuss. If not, it will appear as a separate capsule this week itself. And remaining 5 things I discussed today. The first one pertains to the editorial of the Hindu today, that is oiling cashless wheels, and this is all about merchant discount rate. What is the issue? The issue is now people are going for this cashless transactions, or you can say card transactions. For card transactions, this POS machines are installed. This is POS machine, and these POS machines are installed at petrol pumps, and this Indian public sector oil marketing companies, HP, Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum I have given here just like for example. And you should understand what is meant by merchant discount rate. Merchant discount rate is the charges that is around 0.1%, 0.5% or 1% depending on the bank and depending on the type of transaction. So that is merchant discount rate. So that has to be paid by the petroleum dealers. That means when the POS machine is installed in some petrol pump, and if we are making some card transaction, banks will impose a certain rate, that is merchant discount rate or MDR, and subsequently those rates this petroleum pumps or petrol bunks will try to transfer it to the consumer, right. So whether the petrol pumps transfer it to the consumer or not, that is different story, but they will be overburdened with those charges. So merchant discount rate is charged by the bank, and here this will go to 3 entities. One is consumer bank. If I am using the card to purchase petrol, part of this merchant discount rate will go to my bank, and petrol pump which the bank which installed this POS machine, suppose if ICICI bank installed that POS machine there, part of the payment will go to that bank, and at the same time part of the payment will go to this payment platform also. And payment platform, basically our indigenously developed platform is a RuPay platform. Please do not forget, RuPay platform is developed by National Payments Corporation of India, and these 2 platforms, this Visa platform as well as MasterCard, Visa as well as MasterCard, they belongs to USA, and this RuPay is Indian platform. This is developed by NPCI. So part of the payment goes to this payment platforms also. So consumer bank, bank which installed POS, payment platform. So these 3 will get the payment out of this merchant discount rate. And now with regard to merchant discount rate, the overall view is it should be charged normally, and part of the charges should be borne by Reserve Bank of India. Why Reserve Bank of India has to bond? Reserve Bank of India has to bond part of this merchant discount rate because of the reason now it is saving lot of money. Reserve Bank of India is now saving a lot of money because huge cash movement or cash transactions are reduced. If cash is to be transferred from printing presses to the banks, it involves a lot of expenditure. Now Reserve Bank of India is saving lot of money with that. So now Reserve Bank of India can also bond part of this merchant discount rate. That is one point. And here as per this editorial, 3-4 suggestions are made in the editorial of the Hindu today. One is we are using more and more card transactions. So, the most important aspect is protection of private data. This is very, very important aspect. The data of the consumers should not go into anybody without the consent. So, this private data of consumers is most important. Second important point is greater transparency in fees. Now, the issue is with regard to merchant discount rate, but tomorrow some other issues pertaining to fees may crop up. So, there should be some transparency and mechanism is to be devised with regard to fees involved in digital transactions. There should be some uniform measure, and part of this is to be borne by Reserve Bank of India, because now the cash handling charges, otherwise you can say cash handling, is reduced drastically. The third point is rationalization of MDR charges. Then creation of new payments regulator. Now, Reserve Bank of India is the regulator. Payments and Settlements Act, that means this prepaid payment instruments are regulated by Reserve Bank of India, and this type of minuscule transactions, and at the same time this type of problems cannot be solved by Reserve Bank of India. That is why there is a need for creation of new payments regulator independent of Reserve Bank of India. Then at the same time, customers must be protected from unauthorized transactions or system errors. If some unauthorized transaction takes place, or if there is some system error, customers must be protected. So, right to privacy should be brought, and at the same time this unauthorized transactions, system errors, person should be protected, right. So, these are the important suggestions made, because these are important, because nowadays, because of the more and more digital transactions, in future also some problems may crop up, and as and when problems crop up, people will try to find solutions. So, please write down these points and keep it separate, right. So, lucky draws are not sufficient, that is the final word of this editorial. What is the meaning of lucky draws are not sufficient? Because recently government announced Lucky Grahak Yojana. So, announcing schemes like Lucky Grahak Yojana is not sufficient. One should take care of these aspects, government should take care of these aspects, that is the meaning. Second one is a blow to reformists in Iran. I will spend only 2 minutes on this. This is with regard to the death of a former president, Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani. Rafsanjani is considered to be a reformer, and if you look at Iran after 1979 Iranian revolution, the country is basically literally divided into, on one side reformers and on the other side hardliners. Reformers, basically they want more reforms, they are also called moderates, and they want better relations with Western countries. So, this reformers is primarily led by Rafsanjani, and because of the reformers only, this Iran nuclear deal could be signed last year. Iran nuclear deal is basically due to the efforts of the reformers, and the other side hardliners. What is the contention of hardliners? Hardliners basically want theocracy and conservative values. What is the meaning of theocracy? This is one type of governance. Theocracy, quite often you find out in newspapers, theocracy is one type of governance where the government is by religious leaders. So, basically religious leaders govern the system, that is theocracy. So, the hardliners want theocracy in Iran, right. And if you look here, this is Rafsanjani, former president who died, and the present president is Hassan Rouhani, and both are having good terms. In fact, with the support of Rafsanjani, Hassan Rouhani won the presidential elections, and it is a big blow to the reformers in Iran, and at the same time the victory of Donald Trump is also uncertain in future how he will react as far as nuclear deal and other issues, right. So, this is all about this, and if you go to the next one, this is respite, not reconciliation. This is with regard to Syria. Syria peace talks are going to start from January 23rd. Syria peace talks are going to start, and here one article by Vijay Prashad. He is famous for his international affairs, and he wrote this article. This is with regard to Syria peace talks, and here three words are very important. He used respite, not reconciliation. What is the meaning of and what is the difference between respite and reconciliation? Respite means a pause or rest from something unpleasant. There is a serious cyclone, severe cyclone. During severe cyclone, if 2 hours there is no wind in between, for 2 hours there is no wind, totally the atmosphere is silent and standstill. That is the circumstance which we call respite. There is a respite for 2 hours. That is a temporary phenomena. The author feels that Syria peace talks is a temporary phenomena, that means a temporary respite, not a reconciliation. Reconciliation means, what is the meaning of reconciliation? The meaning is two opposite groups coming to the conclusion. Two opposite groups, quite opposite groups, they will come to agree to some solution. That is a reconciliation. So, it is a respite, not a reconciliation. And another word, it will be beginning of the long denouement of war torn country. So, this denouement, this is the new word. Some of you may not be aware about this word. This is nothing but the final part of the narrative or situation. That means Syria's civil war is going to come to an end, but it is a long denouement of war torn country. That means it will not come to an end now, it will take some more time. It is only the beginning, right? So, that means a lot of difficulty lies ahead. Though the peace process started, it is only the beginning. It is likely to continue for some more time. So, that is the meaning of this word. So, if someone talks about a respite, that is temporary rest or from unpleasant thing, some temporary pause, then reconciliation means two warring groups agreeing to it. Then this word is very important. This denouement is the final part of the story, narrative or situation. In Syria story, this is the final part of the solution, but this is going to be quite long drawn. And with regard to Syria, we discussed in detail only 2-3 days ago. We produced one capsule. Please view this capsule, Aleppo and Syria crisis. We discussed in detail what are various groups in Syria, and at the same time there are primarily 3 warring groups we discussed in that capsule. Please view that capsule. One is this group 1, President Bashar al-Assad, supported by Iran president and Russia president. Second one is rebel groups supported by West and Gulf countries, and the third one ISIS. Fourth one is there Kurds, but we have not discussed on that because Kurds are not allowing anyone to enter into their areas, and these 3 warring factions are there in Syria. So, please view that capsule and you will be very clear. You need not read this article. And if you look at the next one, this is yesterday's article. This is revisiting a passage from India. This is with regard to now Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. This is going on in Bengaluru. And Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, why it is celebrated, what is the purpose, and some important aspects I discussed in this article. More than what is written here, I discussed several aspects. Please view this carefully. And here the concept of this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, this emanated from NDA government in 2002 when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, and basically to tap financial and intellectual capital. And around 15 to 16 million people born in our country or abroad, 15 to 16 million people. And if you look at the world's diaspora, especially China has got 50 million or 5 crore Chinese born in China or staying abroad. So, China has got 5 crore diaspora, and our diaspora is probably 1.5 crore. And what is the meaning of diaspora? This word you should have clear meaning. Diaspora means spreading of people from one origin to other countries. So, Indians staying in other countries, Indians staying in other countries. That sums up diaspora, the meaning of diaspora. And basically, what is the purpose of this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas? This is financial and intellectual capital. The persons whoever migrated abroad, they have not only financial strength, but also intellectual strength also. Several graduates from Indian institutes of technology or in important positions in various countries like USA, Canada, and to tap their intellectual capital. At the same time, they are financially also strong. So, to tap financial as well as intellectual capital, this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas concept was originated from 2002. And here, this January 9th, why we celebrate this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas on January 9 because of the reason after fighting colonial regime in South Africa with his Satyagraha, finally Mahatma Gandhi returned to India on January 9, 1915. So, January 9, 1915, Mahatma Gandhi returned to India, and subsequent 32 years till our independence, all of you are familiar with, that is the era of Mahatma Gandhi in India. And subsequently, let us see what is the Indian diaspora. I already explained Indian diaspora. Diaspora means the person of Indian origin staying in other countries, and we can bifurcate it into two. As per the author, I have taken this pre-1947. Prior to 1947 during British days, and after 1947, you can bifurcate like this. Pre-1947, people migration especially took place as indentured laborers by the British. They have taken Indians to work in plantations, in sugar plantations, right. So, that is Fiji, this is in Pacific Ocean. Similarly, Mauritius, Indian Ocean country, then Guyana, Trinidad, Tobago, and here these places basically the migration took place. The British took Indian people pre-1947, and after 1947, you can bifurcate into white collar jobs and blue collar jobs. You may have a doubt, several times in newspapers we hear about white collar jobs and blue collar jobs. Please look into this picture, it will be clear to you. White collar jobs like doctors, engineers, then teachers, these are all white collar jobs, and blue collar jobs means where it involves physical labor. Where it involves physical labor, that is the blue collar job. A construction worker, a plumber, these are all examples of blue collar jobs. White collar jobs means doctors, engineers, these are all white collar jobs. And if you look at the migration pattern, white collar jobs basically to countries like United States of America, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, these are all white collar jobs. And blue collar jobs mostly to Gulf countries. Gulf has got lot of oil wealth. Because of that oil wealth, they require lot of construction activity, and for that our people migrated. The maximum are from Kerala, they migrated to Gulf countries, and these are mostly blue collar workers who are doing physical works, right. So, this is the difference between white collar, blue collar, and how the migration took place pre-1947, post-1947. Next one is, before going ahead, I would like to put forth one information about this foreign remittances. When we are talking about foreign diaspora, Indian diaspora in foreign countries, one thing very important from Indian economic perspective I am talking about. If you look at Indian economic perspective, this foreign remittances is very important. Basically, because of foreign remittances only, we are quite comfortable in current account or balance of payments. We are quite comfortable because of 2-3 reasons. One is services, our software exports. Second one is foreign remittances. Then third one is foreign direct investment or foreign portfolio investment. So, because of 3 reasons, our currency is now somewhat stable. Our foreign exchange reserves are quite sufficient, which covers up 10 months of imports. Right. So, basically here I looked at current account and this foreign remittances, they are playing a vital role in current account. If you look at exports or imports, we have negative minus $120 billion last year. So, our imports are more by $120 billion around. These are tentative figures. Those, please do not take them as sacrosanct. Why I am explaining you is what is the relevance of this foreign remittances in our controlling our current account deficit. And here we have lot of deficit in exports imports front, and at the same time some deficit in primary income. What is primary income? When some Coca-Cola is establishing factory in our country, they take away the profits. That is minus because lot of multinationals are in our country. So, this factor income or primary income is minus to our country, and because of these two things our current account deficit would have been $160 billion, but we are saved because of two things. Our current account is saved because of two things. One is services. Our services, because of software exports, we are having positive on the services sector, and at the same time this remittances. And please do not forget, in economy somebody may ask you a question, this secondary income or unilateral transfers or remittances, these are one and the same, and these are part of current account. So, all together if you sum up, our current account deficit comes to just $20 to $30 billion. Otherwise, it could have been quite huge. Because of this foreign diaspora, we are saved. Because of our software exports, we are saved. And please do not forget, this current account combined with capital account makes balance of payments, that I will discuss sometime later. And this terminology is very important. Why I discussed this here is because of the reason this remittances. There is expectation that foreign remittances may come down. So, here problem areas as per the article. Problem areas. One is remittances may reduce. At present they are $69 billion and largest in the world. Foreign remittances, we are the largest in the world, and this unilateral transfers may reduce in future. If they reduce, it will have adverse impact on our current account, adverse impact on foreign exchange reserves, adverse impact at the same time on our currency, right. Then competition for blue collar workers is coming from countries like Philippines or Nepal. From Philippines or Nepal, countries like Philippines, Nepal, there is lot of competition. They are ready to work with lesser wages in Gulf countries. That is one of the biggest threats our blue collar workers face in Gulf countries. Second one is kafala system. What is meant by kafala system? This is into the news in recent times. Kafala system in Gulf countries. That means this is the system where it monitors migrant laborers. If some person wants to go to some country like Qatar, then he should have some in-country sponsorer. In that country, the blue collar worker must have one sponsorer, and after going there, this worker, this blue collar worker will be under the control of that in-country sponsor. Under the control of that in-country sponsor, then they are making the life quite difficult for the migrant laborers. They are not allowing them to switch the jobs. They are not paying anything for overtime. Like that, lot of human rights violations are taking place in Gulf region. So, this kafala system, human rights violations, these are the aspects which our government should look at. And now this protectionist policies, victory of Donald Trump, as well as the effect on software sector, this is going to be one worry. So, these are the problem areas. If you look at the Indian diaspora is concerned, right, look at the next article. We are going to discuss about the most important article, the world at crossroads. This article is written by M.K. Narayanan, and in 2017, how the world is going to be. What are the problems the world is going to face in 2017? That is the essence of this article, right. Look at various points I have written. point wise. The aspects taken by this article, the first point is geopolitical risks will remain high, and we often hear about geopolitics. What is the meaning of geopolitics? Geopolitics is influence of factors because of its location, because of its economic might, because of its demographic advantage on other foreign countries. If a country is situated in some strategic location, if a country is situated in its strategic location, then that country may have lot of clout in foreign affairs. If a country is quite strong in economic terms, just like China, it may have its own clout in the foreign affairs. If a country is quite strong in demographic advantage, India is having a demographic advantage because our median age is just 26 years. Because of more young population, our consumption will be very high. So, there are lot many opportunities. That is why multinational companies will try to flock into our country. So, these are all geopolitical factors. So, geopolitical factors means the factors based on geography, based on economy, based on demography, right. So, age advantage. Because of all these factors, that will have impact on the foreign affairs of one country with others. So, that is the meaning of geopolitics, because this term geopolitics is quite often into the news. Then geopolitical risks will remain high. Second one is cyber attacks. Already we are seeing that America is blaming Russia for the cyber attacks, which America says that it influenced the election of Donald Trump. So, this type of cyber attacks will increase in future. Third one is low growth of world will continue. In the world, the growth rate during the past 1 or 2 years is quite low, and this will continue, and at the same time inequalities will increase. At the same time, unemployment will increase because of automation. One reason is because of automation. Nowadays, we are seeing robots in banks, and in future 3D printing will come, artificial intelligence, then Internet of Things. These are going to be reality, and at the same time driverless cars. These are going to become reality. And because of all these factors, low growth of world will continue, and inequalities will rise, unemployment will rise. Then the next one is unpredictability. Here the victory of Donald Trump is one example. Unpredictability and desire to change status quo in economic events will continue. People will vote for changing the present situation. People are thinking that the present economic situation is not good. Only the rich people are thinking. The middle class are thinking that the present system is not serving their needs. People came to the opinion in some countries, the present system is serving only the super rich. Present system is not serving the middle class people. So, there is a demand for status quo, changing the status quo. Normally, status quo is anticipated in any country unless there is a desire strongly. Normally, status quo will be maintained in economic affairs, but the present day world is looking at changing the status quo. Brexit as well as victory of Donald Trump are two classic examples of 2016, and this trend may continue, and Marine Le Pen in France may be one example. She may come to the forefront. Then mistrust on institutions and institutional power will grow. Mistrust on institutions. This TPP is going to be abrogated. Then if more walls are built, then World Trade Organization's existence will come into question. Now countries are looking at protectionist tendencies. Then what is the need for World Trade Organization? Similarly, United Nations. in front of United Nations, Syria is in crisis, Yemen is in crisis, Libya is in crisis, South Sudan is going to be in crisis, then what is the need for United Nations? This type of thinking will grow in 2017. Then personal charisma will dominate. Already we are seeing in some countries personal charisma of Vladimir Putin, and if you look at India, personal charisma of Narendra Modi is at its peak, and Donald Trump. So these are all examples where personal charisma of persons will dominate and dictate the politics in several countries, that is major countries. Then military superiority with the nuclear arsenal or intercontinental ballistic missiles, which have a range of more than 5,500 kilometers. So these will become the norm in future. People will vie for increasing nuclear arsenal, and Donald Trump unpredictable, Xi Jinping already ramping up his military operations further, and Vladimir Putin, he is also supreme in that country. And because of this type of atmosphere, now nuclear arsenal and military superiority may continue. Then the next one is more insular polities. What is the meaning of insular polity? What is the meaning of insulation? Insulation means there is some outer layer or something to protect something. So insular means one country is insulated from other country. No free trade, no free investments, no free movement of people, no free technology exchange. So all these things may happen. This is classified as insular policies. At the same time, protectionist measures and nationalistic policies. So these may grow in 2017, and new alignments in 2017 and USA, China, Russia relations are quite interesting. After Donald Trump assumes office on January 20, it is very interesting to see how he crafts his relations with Russia, and how then it will influence Russia's relations with China, and how Donald Trump will tread the delicate balance with China. So these things are very interesting to see in the years to come, or maybe in the year 2017. And the other important aspect is increase in lone wolf and copycat attacks. Lone wolf attack we discussed in the previous lectures. He is one person, it is very difficult to detect. He may come somewhere into the shopping mall, then immediately he will start shooting. These are called lone wolf attacks. They may continue to increase in 2017. And the other one is copycat attacks. What is the meaning of copycat attacks? That means just copying what the other person is doing, he will do the same thing. So copycat attacks and lone wolf attacks will increase in 2017. And most important aspect is law and order in several cities in Western countries is a cause of concern. Then India, Pakistan, same situation may continue, but Pakistan may be emboldened with the support of China. So these are the aspects as per this article, and he put forth the picture of 2017, not only in the world but also with regard to India also. This article clearly says that what is going to be the future ahead. And the sixth article, this is a rights bill gone wrong. This article is quite critical about the bill which is going to be placed in Lok Sabha, that is this transgender bill, and this we will discuss either tomorrow or as a separate capsule, because it has got a lot many points, because as per the authors, the provisions in the proposed bill are not satisfactory, and we have to view this in this context. And we will meet at 12 o'clock for English comprehension. Right friends, daily Monday to Friday we will have this newspaper editorial discussion as well as comprehension. Please stay with Learning Space. Have a nice day. Thank you. Thanks a lot.